everybody. I am Sukriti Adavanshi, and I'm here with a very interesting, conversation with one of the leading forums when it comes to the digital presence that we talk. But before I go ahead and reveal, I would want to set up a little pretext of the entire digital transformation, the entire digital platform being used. And all of us know that an increasing number of minors and everybody for that matter are using technology and digital platforms for learning, entertainment, and to, for that matter, stay connected with their loved ones. Now, creating a safer online environment is very critical, and online exploitation of children, of teenagers, of for that matter, adults and females. Let's just particularly address is a problem that requires collective action to protect them. Now, Meta is an industry leader in combating this and keeping the children safe on its platform, that is Facebook and Instagram, majorly. And over the years, Meta has invested significantly, to ensure these online safety of children, women, and they continue to develop certain, industry-leading tools to keep the young people safe, on their platforms. Now, today I have, Natasha, who is the head public policy program at Instagram India, who is going to actually share the insights about top issues reported by Indian users, relevant trends, and top resources available to children to create a safer online experience. Welcome to the show, Natasha. I'm so glad you're here with us.
Thank you so much, Sukriti. Really delighted to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to come and talk to you and talk to your viewers as well. And thank you for that warm introduction as well. Look forward to the conversation.
Wonderful. So, without any further ado, I would quickly jump onto the insight that I'm here, actually to talk with you about. To start with, help me understand what is the significance of securing one's digital presence, because it's something that the world is looking as very critical, as a mandatory process in order to survive here and in order to have an identity that people know you, because everything is digital these days. So, how do you think one can actually secure their digital presence in today's time?
Yeah, thanks very much for that, Sukriti. Look, we believe that users come onto our platform to connect with each other, to build communities. And we also know that the only way that they can do that and have those engaging and meaningful conversations online is that when we provide a safe and secure environment for them to do so. We have almost, I think, over 750 million people who are online in the country. That number is only growing. And while we, of course, there's a lot of focus on how the internet, social media platforms, and other online avenues are helping users, how they are, helping in creativity, in expression, how people are pushing culture forward. I mean, the whole small and medium businesses and their reliance on internet and all that is, of course, well documented. But also, we know that safety has been an issue that has been under spotlight. Cybercrimes is really on the rise. And therefore, I think in this context, I would like to respond to your question on what can we do about identity at a time when we know that there might be others out there who are looking to get the systems, who are looking for you to have an unwanted, unpleasant experiences. So I think it is very, very important for users to stay aware, to stay conscious of what all is out there, what the loopholes are. So that's number one. I know this bad can happen. Equally important, parallelly, and really also at number one is, what are the tools that are available that I can control my experiences with, right? What are the ways that I can be digitally aware, that I can be digitally literate, and what can I do about it? And lastly, if I am to have something unpleasant or unwanted, how can I report it? I've faced this, but how can I report it to make sure that action is taken? And how can I spread education and awareness about it? So these are kind of the broad buckets that we look at. There are always some, very quickly, we always talk about two-factor authentication. This is kind of like a feature which is also going to increase the security of your online account. So, hackings is a problem. That will not happen. We always say that let's have a strong password, and that's just not for social media, but that's wherever you have an online account, on any app that you have or any website that requires you to log in. Just make sure that you have a strong password. These are the basic kind of rules. We also ran a campaign last year, which was on anti-scamming, where, we talked about phishing attempts. What is phishing? What are the kind of, signs that you should watch out for? If you just get a message which looks innocuous saying, hey, click this link, you will get X amount of money, or click this link and your account will be secure, otherwise the bank is shutting down your account, or whatever else have you. There are scams that are on romantic scams, for example. where you're lured with all kinds of gratification to say, hey, you'll find your great love if you do this. Someone who seems to have your best interest in mind, and doing that. The elderly are not spared, the young are not spared, the working class are not spared. So these are the things, kind of like, what are the warning signs, the trigger warnings that should go off in your head. So I think that these are some of these. The platforms offer a lot. I mean, very quickly, if you're having something unpleasant, or you're seeing that there are some words that are trigger words, we have profanity filters, we have hidden words. You can limit, if you anticipate that you're going to get a lot of unwanted comments because you posted something, you can use limits there. You can select who can reach you via direct messages. You can block people, you can restrict people. Restrict is a soft block. You can lock your profile, you can have a private account. I mean, there's a whole lot to talk through, but this is just a high level view of what some of the features are. So be aware, know your rights, know what you can do, know the tools, use the tools. I mean, these tools are designed, and we are not prescriptive about them, but they're all on offer. Understand the tools, use them as you need.
So that romantic scam that you just mentioned has come to me as a surprise, that it is actually a scam, because normally so our phone's AI is very smart enough to actually suggest things basis our conversation. I think that is one of the elements that actually comes into picture once we actually have those sort of conversation. But I will not go to that. I will jump to my next question. You delve into these things on a daily basis, Natasha. Tell me, how big is this, the abusive or the explicit content that you see as a problem, and how are you addressing that?
Look, the way I will answer this is to say that, again, Pete, what I said, that we want our platforms to be places where people feel secure, where people are feeling empowered. And that is where a lot of our work across products, policies, partnerships, and programs lies, right? So what does this really mean? Policies, for example, we have something called community standards, which are the guardrails of what is allowed and not allowed on the platform. What can you post? What can you not post? What if you post on a repeat behavior pattern? Will you be penalized against? And this is all external facing. So the community standards are basically the guidelines that determine what can and not, what we will have zero tolerance for, what you should not do. And it's good to educate yourself. These are all external facing information. It's available online. So that's as far as the policy bucket is concerned. And to underscore the point on safety is also that, we made a $16 billion investment since 2016 in issues of safety. We've got 40,000 people that today work on safety issues, and this includes a bunch of content reviewers, some 15,000 of them, whose job is to get human eyes on content, to review this content. And these reviewers actually have proficiency in 70 global languages, 20 are in India, and they're available round the clock to look at this kind of content, right? We are constantly expanding our work on building better machine learning and AI tools so that we are able to proactively detect content better, expand the language coverage on that. Today, we've got one of the largest networks of third-party fact checkers in India. They're fact-checking content in 15 Indian languages, which is just we know that the number is significantly higher in India when it comes to languages, but 15 out of the 22 official languages that we have, and we're constantly adding to that. There are 11 fact checkers as part of this as well. And we're also transparent about what is the kind of content we remove, because under the new IT rules, we need to be transparent, and that is something that we are publishing monthly. It's called a monthly compliance report, and we're happy to kind of share the numbers to give you a look at, under various abuse categories, how much are we pulling down across our platforms, right? And how is that number changing? Again, this is external facing and help people to figure out what is the kind of volume that we're looking at, what are the spikes that we are seeing, and how are we approaching it. So this is kind of just like a sliver of how we see our work. Similarly, a bunch of product works, I walked you through it, right? On hidden words, be it limits, be it profanity filters, blocking, restricting, private accounts, what have you. And that's a lot of the product work. We launched parental supervision tools. Again, you touched upon young users, and we do realize that there is a lot of work that we need to do incrementally over and above for our young users, because keeping them safe, and they're just coming online and they have a very different experience, is also significant. So we've launched that there. I'd be happy if this conversation presents the opportunity to take you deeper into that, but that allows parents or guardians to just get a sliver of idea of what's happening online, because that's the kind of feedback that we got, that parents and families are saying, we don't know what our kids are doing online. So help us understand what's going on a platform like Instagram. So like, for example, we have that going on there as well. So that's the product side. Partnerships, we partner with organizations globally. These are academics, think tanks, CSOs, NGOs. And we do that because we can't be everywhere. We want them to keep an ear to the ground to tell us where we are doing well, where we are not doing well, where we could do better, etc. Feed into the making of our policies and so on. And lastly, programs, where we are building out programs, for example, the reporting campaign on how we can report content better is also something that we rolled out last year, the do's and don'ts of reporting, how the best one can do that, and why you need to do that as well. So I think programs like that, there's one that we launched on Safer Internet Day also, which is CSAM, which is child sexual abuse material, and why you must report it and not share it. And again, this came on the back of feedback and research that we did, which said, 75% of the child abuse material is shared by people without any malicious or harmful intent. It is shared because people are just trying to raise awareness. So they're saying, hey, this happened to a kid, let it not happen to somebody else's kid. Save your kid, right? But they are resharing that and they're re-victimizing the child without realizing that they're doing it. So this is kind of this like a very high level view of how we see our work across these 4 Ps or the 4 pods that we have.
Thanks, Natasha. Thanks so much. I think the entire preview gives us, a good insight into how things are being done there. Moving on to the next one quickly. You tell me how Meta-owned platforms ensure security of users' identity.
Thanks for that question, Preeti. So, there is no one size fits all approach as we have realized, right? For example, if you're a minor and you log on to Instagram, we will default you to a private account. Now we do that because we believe that a private experience is better for our minor users, for our teen users, and that's how they should be. But we leave it to them to decide if they do want to become a public account. Many of them say, hey, we want to be creators, or we want a broader audience. We want to try things and we want to stick with our communities. So we let them decide that, right? We allow people to block others. We allow them to restrict, which is a soft block, which is, sometimes people say that, hey, if we are blocking someone, it's actually escalating a situation. Think about, a child in an institution with a senior student or a person in office with their superior or their boss, and they don't want to aggravate the situation, but they do a soft block called the restrict, right? Which is that the person who you restrict will not know that you've restricted. You just can't see their comments because for whatever reason. And we also believe that people do this in their families as well, to say, hey, I don't want to hear what this family member says, but I can't risk that at home. So let me just restrict. So all of that is to say that, and this is how, you can decide how much you want to do. Again, I mentioned the DM controls that we have, right? Instagram, who can send you a DM? So keep identity locked. How close do you want this to be? Again, Facebook has very similar options as well on, how you can choose to navigate your friend list, who can reach out, etc. So there are the different ways to kind of keep your identity safe. How personal do you want to be? How private do you want to be? Lock your profile, etc. And that again depends on the users. And I'll kind of digress a little bit by giving you an example on why there's so much control on the users, because at one point, on Instagram, there was a feeling that the like button is actually leading to a lot of pressure, especially for our young users. It's like, I got X likes, you got Y likes, my likes are less and yours are more. It was adding to pressure. So we decided we would remove the likes. But then we got feedback from creators to say, if we remove that, there is no way that they have to determine if the community is liking their content. Did you like, if I'm a comic creator, do you like that joke if I go in this direction? Do you not like it? If I'm a designer, is this the kind of designs that you would wear? I mean, how do I know? I know by what the likes that I get. I know by the engagement that I have. And that kind of, I just believe that everyone's experience, they want it to be different. But we have a bunch of tools to keep you safe on, from unwanted experiences. I have a lot I could talk to you about how we do that with teens, but that's not right in response to this question. But I think we have a bunch of tools, and it's for users to identify what works best for them. And if there is any unpleasant experience, definitely report that to us. So I think reporting is a very important part of also keeping yourself safe, impersonation, etc. We have very strict policies on, and how we navigate those as well.
Wonderful. So Natasha, how much do you think, if I just ask you maybe a certain percentage, how much do you think you've controlled through these changes and innovation that you've put into strategy and execution when it comes to these platforms?
It's very hard to put a number, but because just look at the scale that we have,
Yeah.
globally as well, and how we are trying to navigate it. And to the frank answer to that is that people are always trying to game the system, right? There are always
Right.
actors out there who are trying to imitate and are trying to figure out, where the loopholes lie. So our effort is to just make sure that we have a robust program in place. We have robust policies, programs, products,
Mhm.
and partnerships out there that we are to feed in. I think the compliance report just gives you an idea of how much we are bringing down. And a lot of that we are doing proactively on the back of machine learning, on the back of artificial intelligence. So we're not even getting humanized. For example, when I talk about fake accounts, I
Mhm.
think almost 97 or 98, Rishabh can correct me here, but 97 or 98% of the fake accounts are brought down before anyone even reports them, right? That's how efficient the system is. Yes, even that 2% that is left out there, when you have the scale, it is massive, and we're constantly
Right.
working to get better of it. But those are kind of like examples on where we've got really good. There are other areas where we are working constantly to get better at, to strengthen our work around it, and where we need kind of more education. For example, the child sexual abuse material, right?
Mhm.
75% of the fact is not malicious content. That is
Right.
not malicious intent, I beg your pardon, right? So what do? You set up an education campaign to say, hey, don't do it. So there are different kind of ploys that we would deploy to deal with this.
Wonderful. Now, any tips that you would want to actually give our audience in order to help them, safekeeping their information from the cyber criminals that actually we see these days?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we touched upon some of this at the beginning as well, which would, basically be, I think, be aware of all that you can do. So spend some time in going through all the features that platforms offer. We've got a lot pretty much in your settings on Facebook and Instagram as well. So play around with that, identify what you could do there, turn them on, and, choose the experience that works well. Two-factor authorization, again, very important, because hacking also is something that our community does talk to us about. And that is really something that is another thing that is important to do, and is also at the heart of how we are doing our campaign with METI, right? I mean, the campaign with the Ministry of Electronics and IT for
Mhm.
G20 is basically focused on safety, and the idea is user awareness. The idea is that what can our users do to keep themselves safe? What can our users do on building awareness and building that muscle on digital safety? What are the tools that are available? What are the situations you may find yourselves in? I mentioned those romantic scams because that was something that we put out as part of that partnership with METI on the 14th of February. And on Women's Day, you'll see another round of collateral on what women can do to keep themselves safe, particularly with an eye on women users as well. So I think all of that goes into say that a bunch of features, you should be aware about them. Look at these collaterals that we're putting out with the Ministry of Electronics and IT. And I think there's a lot of education material out there. Play with the settings and the tools. I've mentioned some of those as well. And this really is the thrust of our Digital Suraksha campaign, which is our umbrella campaign. And the idea of that
Mhm.
campaign is, again, to make sure that that we are at regular intervals reminding our users and our community on all that they need to do to build awareness and to keep themselves secure online. And that's how we're doing it. We have consumer awareness initiatives as part of this. We have digital literacy and education awareness as part of this. For example, the campaign with the Delhi police that we're running, which will take these safety skills to school students, will take them to the Delhi police personnel. There's also a digital Suraksha pledge that is part of this. And I think all of this is just to say that it's a roundup of how we look at our work and where we believe that we need to focus our efforts. And this is, of course, only round one of Digital Suraksha. And there are more waves to follow, which I'm sure I would be very happy to come back and talk to you more as we roll this out. But we are glad to have got this off the ground and excited to see where this goes.
Thank you so much, Natasha. I think that was a wonderful conversation, and thank you so much for sharing those insights with us. Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, that was the head public policy program at Instagram India, Natasha Joe, with us. And she shared some amazing insights. And I hope, this helps you stay safe digitally, when it comes to staying connected with your loved ones and, of course, adhering to the digital protocols that everybody looks at. Natasha, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much for your time, Sukriti. Thank you. Bye.